Apologies for the new audio, this is a different setup for today. Published in 2017, Night in the Woods is a brilliant game that you should all play about the death of small-town America and the leaving behind the youngest generation. It is also about cults. That is all I will say on the subject today. I am planning a longer video on an analysis of the entire game, but I figured with everything going on in the world, that talking about a specific moment needs its own spotlight. So, please bear with me as the longer video is being worked on. I will not be spoiling any of the plot, save for everything revolving around the minor character of Selmers, as today is strictly a poetry analysis of her work. Selmers is an NPC that the main character May can interact with over the game, slowly learning about her life as a fellow neighbor in the town of Possum Springs. She's a former addict who went to jail after stealing medication, and during the time in jail, her husband left her. Currently, she is unemployed and lives with her parents. Talking with her allows you to hear poems that she writes. For example, "My heart is a dankness. When I see you, I feel a thinkness. When I feel a blueness, all I need is you-ness." It's not the best, but cute, it's good to try. But near the end of the game, if you listen to all of Selmer's poems, you accidentally stumble upon a Possum Springs Poetry Society meeting where we listen to her best poem yet. There's no reception in Possum Springs. No reception here. I wave my black phone in the air like a flare, like a prayer, but no reception. I read on the internet, baby-faced boy billionaire, phone app sold more money in one day than my family over 100 generations, more than my whole world ever has. World where house buying jobs become rent-paying jobs become living with family jobs. Boy billionaires. Money is access. Access to politicians waiting for us to die, let in our water, alcohol, and painkillers. Replace my job with an app. Replace my dreams of a house and a yard with a couch in the basement. The future is yours. Force 24/7 entrepreneurs. I just want a paycheck in my own life. I'm on the couch in the basement. They're in the house in the yard. Some night I will catch a bus out to the West Coast and burn their Silicon City to the ground. The formatting is strange due to graphical and text box limitations, but structure is very important for poetry analysis, so here's a transcript rip courtesy of the Steam community page. The lines showcase every stop and start of the actual text lines, but it's difficult to determine whether that was for intentional poetic reasons or if the devs wanted variation in the text box sizes. For some lines it is obvious, such as, "but no reception," has a clear space for reception, but it was moved to the bottom line. Whereas "I wave my black phone" has a space, but it looks like it's all in one line. There's also the issue of capitalization, as the font for the game is automatically in all caps. The transcription does not capitalize all that it should, which is possible in poetry, but I don't know that if, once again, it's an intentional decision on the devs, or if they knew capitalization did not matter for the end result. Because of that, I will not be using the capitalization as a factor in this analysis, since I can't know what was the intended viewing. As far as I'm concerned, the true way to view this poem is in the format it was created for, that being the in-game text boxes, but we have to make do for seeing the poem all at once instead of spaced out. So here is the slightly altered version I will be using that is my best guess at what the correct formatting should be. The general meaning of this poem is the speaker's anger at capitalism, how it promised a stable life for Americans, but by the time it got to the current generation of younger millennials and Gen Z, all of those promises had run dry. This poem is not a message to those in charge or a message to others feeling down, as it offers no solution. It is a diary entry of Selmers getting her frustration out via art. The tone word I would use for this poem is cynical. Since what the speaker discusses is a common occurrence, though it may be through the personal eyes of one, it represents everyone in Selmers' generation and experience. It was not written for anyone else other than herself, but Selmers is not alone. The same future that was promised to everyone was the same future taken away from everyone. There is no rhyme scheme nor rhythm to the poem, so to analyze we will be going line by line instead of focusing on how each line fits into the greater picture. Starting with the title, "There is no reception in Possum Springs." When choosing the name of a poem, there are many avenues to go with. It could be the date you wrote the poem, the number it was like with Shakespeare's sonnets, a line from anywhere in the poem that best fits the tone, a seemingly disconnected name that gives further context clues to the poem's meaning, or, as Selmers did here, it is based on the first lines. No reception here. Reception does not play an overarching theme in the poem, solely being kept to the opening, but the title and the opening lines are chosen for a reason. The title isn't simply the first lines, it gives more context than the poem has, telling the reader that this is about Possum Springs, an unknown town that most would not recognize. Immediately, the title invokes the isolate feeling of being in a backwater town with their phone not working, and it reminds the readers of being in flyover states, that Possum Springs may have no reception due to other factors, but it's because people don't notice it enough to fix the problem. The title is a subtle first line to the poem, as lines 1 through 3 hit more because you had the title to begin with. No reception here is repeated in their own individual lines, the pause invoking anger through gritted teeth. The speaker's annoyed that their problems weren't heard the first time, so they are making sure you notice the second, third, and fourth beat. I wave my black phone in the air like a flare, like a prayer, but no reception. The use of a black phone could simply be that it's the most common color of phone, but it could also be another sign that the reception goes unnoticed. A flare is used at night, so waving a black phone at night means you're less likely to see it as it blends into the darkness. In a literal sense, the poem is depicting something we've all done of waving our phones to get better signal, a repetitive motion that became a ritual recognizable to all, like bowing your head to pray. The first rhymes of the poem are here, with flare and prayer, connecting the two concepts as desperate acts of someone in trouble. The final, but no reception, feels like a regretful acceptance, as the concept of reception does not come up again in this poem, the speaker realizing it was not going to get better. I read on the internet. Almost immediately, the speaker is on their phone, or some other device that at least has internet reception. This shows that the reception, while it can be a literal of the town having terrible cell service, is also metaphorical and feeling trapped and unheard. Baby-faced boy billionaire. The alliteration pops in the next line, introducing the face of the problem the speaker experiences. Baby-face alone draws to the mind the image of a cherub-like figure. Calling the person a boy right after instead of man furthers the idea of immaturity. A billionaire is someone with power, but they'd like you to forget that, presenting an image that they are either just like you or are innocent in whatever crimes they committed to get to their position. The alliteration helps the infantilization of the rich in a spiteful manner, as we see through the facade. It is also important to note that the billionaire is male, as a majority are, and there is an unspoken description of them being white, as society tends to treat white rich males with more kid gloves than those from other demographics. In 2017, the billionaires this could be connected to were Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and Donald Trump. Nobody wants to be seen as an underdog more than those winning by cheating. Phone apps sold made more money in one day than my family over 100 generations, more than my whole world ever has. The list of apps this could be referring to is too long to narrow down, and it feels crazy to think that this was written nearly 10 years ago, before Elon Musk bought Twitter, before NFTs, before every new startup was the latest AI tech scam. It was bad in 2017, with Bitcoin recently becoming a major thing, and the trash fire that was the 2016 election, but this sentiment has only gotten worse. Overnight, people with money can become people with even more money, with the illusion that anyone could beat them if they just tried or had the right luck. Well, luck doesn't prevent inflation and stagnating wages, but what a coincidence that the only real perpetual motion machine is investing when you have nothing to lose. Reminder that this is the distribution of wealth around that time. Depending on Selmers' family history, it is very possible that companies have made more capital in than her entire bloodline ever has. 100 generations is around 3,000 years, but all that time did not accumulate wealth like the ultra-rich who come from old money, or at least know it. Selmers lives in a poor town, so it's not just her family, it's everyone she knows. It's almost impossible to picture the wealth disparity when she's only seen the bottom, but the internet now shoves the haves in the have-nots' faces. World where house-paying jobs become rent-paying jobs, become living-with-family jobs. These lines have both anaphora and antistrophe, I'm sorry if I can't pronounce that correctly, as the repetition of became leads into the phrase after being introduced by the repetition of jobs. The three lines flow into the next in a downward spiral, causing the reader to fall depressed just like the speaker as everything slowly gets worse. The minimum wage was made to help people pay for houses. That was the expected norm, but then it didn't rise when the landlords got rich enough to prevent others from buying, keeping them trapped in a renting cycle. Until we are at where we are now, jobs can't even cover living on your own, or even with roommates. Minimum wage is now a trap that has no incentive to let you go, because at the end of the day, you will still show up to work, because what other choice is there? We went from Gen X buying their homes, to millennials renting until they accepted defeat, to Gen Z who hasn't known any other reality beyond disappointment. I pay $1,700 in rent less than 2 blocks away from where my parents in the late 90s rented for less than $800 total. It's the same house, except worse now, the landlord not keeping it up to date as it ages. My parents had a shed in the backyard, but they didn't have to pay pet fees or online fees or anything else. I had to pay $500 just for my cat to live with me. My partner had to take out a loan to move in. And you can ask, hey Script, why aren't you living somewhere cheaper, somewhere you can afford? Where? The sad thing is, this is affordable where I live. This was a good deal. But we don't even have jobs anymore, so what are we supposed to do? Move back in with our parents to save money? With what jobs? Who's hiring? Who's paying a living wage? And not everyone has that ability. Something has to give. But companies and billionaires just keep getting richer. That's why I wanted to analyze this poem. Every week, every day, the world feels like it's in a worse place, and we know exactly who to blame, but nothing changes. The younger generations are at the whims of those who have houses, who made out like bandits and then gate-kept any amount of comfort. And Selmers wrote of it in 2017. She's angry. I'm angry. We're all angry. Boy billionaires. No reception here. Boy billionaires. The alliteration returns, popping like a gun, descending through gritted teeth. The formatting being parallel to the spacing of the first 3 lines transfers the place of blame and anger from the cell phone service to the rich in charge. Money is access to politicians. This is called andipilosis, I hope I pronounced that right as well, ending one phrase with a word and beginning the next with it, creating emphasis. This line points out the terrible solution to anyone's woes, that you can buy anyone you want to get what you want. That is why nothing ever gets better. The people who need it to get better are exactly the ones who have zero access to accomplishing that task. That is also why being rich after a certain point isn't luck. It's a prophecy as money makes more money, and you either have to be really stupid or kind to lose it all in our current setup. Access to politicians, waiting for us to die, lead in our water, alcohol, and painkillers. By how they act, billionaires and politicians want us to die. They act as if the population is not needed to get life existing in the way they experience, because they forget they're even living the same lives as us. America has an aging infrastructure, with lead poisoning our water through old pipes and by pure greed to cut corners. Look at Flint, Michigan, whose problems started in 2014 due to cost-cutting measures. Alcohol and painkillers is in reference to the opioid crisis where, because we had no universal health care, we were reliant on our insurance paying for our health care, and they would rather pay for drugs than therapies or surgeries. In turn, if you lose your insurance, now all you know to help you is opiates, so of course people would look for them after the fact. This is a very important line for Selmers, as she was an addict who stole from the pharmacy in her past, sending her to jail, losing her husband because of it, and now lives with her parents. These are all connected issues, as now she has a criminal record, she can't get a job easily, which means she can't afford renting, or God forbid owning. Even though she's out of rehab, her past will follow her because the rich want it to. Replace my job with an app. Replace my dreams of a house and a yard with a couch in the basement. Another use of anaphora. Going back to the Billionaires app, an app the speaker might not be able to even use due to no reception. A product making that much overnight is something that replaces jobs, or even hobbies. The contemporary advent of AI is replacing jobs in music, fashion, social media, graphic design, writing, and any form of the arts. And to the rich, it's just a toy to play with. Replace my dreams of a house and a yard are in reference to the American dream that is stereotypically depicted as owning a house with a picket fence, a dog and kids maybe, a loving spouse. It contrasts harshly against the speaker's reality of being kept underground in the dark, living in someone else's home that they could afford because they got lucky when they were born, when it was just a little more fair. The future is yours. Forced 24/7 entrepreneurs. I just want a paycheck. First off, fantastic rhyming of yours and entrepreneurs. The entire game, Selmer's poems were treated like jokes, especially her rhymes, so this is a phenomenal juxtaposition to her previous work. Moving on to the actual content, the 31st line is in quotes, most likely being spoken by the boy billionaire, saying that anyone can grab their future just like they did. In the grand scheme of things, it is a promise all of us has been told. The 32nd line is the reality we were actually given. Second jobs used to be something for extra cash. Now they're almost a requirement for living. Any hobby online now pushes in your face how you can monetize it, and hustling culture has been promoted as a way to make a living. But it's actually encouraging the American people to never stop working, even for a moment. We're expected to constantly think about how to make more money, just like billionaires. The difference is, however, that we're doing it to survive and have no choice. I just want a paycheck. Is that too much to ask for a single job that gets you by? That was supposed to be the bare minimum, and it already wasn't a good deal to begin with. I just want a paycheck and my own life. I'm on the couch in the basement, they're in the house and the yard. It's not just what the paycheck is, it's what it represents. Even jobs that do pay now expect you to dedicate every waking hour to them, when it was supposed to be you show up, get paid for your work, and you go home, free to spend your life how you wish. Our lives are not ours in a capitalistic society. They're the bosses, the politicians, the boy billionaires, as we are making them money, not the other way around. The lines repeat that the speaker does not have the house they were promised, that it's the rich who live that way, and we're expected to think they deserve it more than we do. We are working just as hard, maybe more, and yet they stay ahead. Some night I will catch a bus out to the West Coast and burn their Silicon City to the ground. The transition is sudden. One moment the speaker is laying defeated on the couch, next we are whirled into her imagination as the dream is dragged out over 5 lines. The speaker says some night, because it is a dream that could happen anytime, but who knows. She says she will catch a bus, invoking the ideas of running towards it before she misses her opportunity. That this is a chase as the bus is already on to the next stop, the next line. The West Coast is all on its own line, standing as a shining beacon that represents all of America, the best and especially the worst. And finally, in the hectic nature, in the glorious dream, the speaker punishes the boy billionaires, releases her frustrations, and watches Silicon Valley, the home of many tech companies, be obliterated in beautiful fire. Through gritted teeth, the metal giants return to the earth, gone. Even if you haven't played Night in the Woods, you may be familiar with this section of the poem, as it was referenced in Penelope Scott's Rat, with the line, "I bit the apple because I loved you. It tastes like Thomas Malthus. Your proposal is immodest and insane, and I hope someday Selmers rides her train." Rat is all about the anger and hatred directed towards Elon Musk for not only what he is, but what he could have been. All that money in the world to do good, and instead the world looks like this, where we all wish for someone to do what Selmers wants. But that is all a dream, as the poem ends and Selmers is still Selmers. As mentioned at the beginning, this poem does not have answers or solutions. It's simply screaming into the void. It is the truest depiction of writing for oneself, but it resonates strongly with everyone sick and tired of the world. Now, it's the end of the analysis, and I don't know how to end it. Like the poem, I have no solutions, as much as I want one. But today was to scream out my frustrations through art, and there's catharsis in that. Bagging it all up does nothing but burn you from the inside. It's good to get it out, and it's good to know that you're not alone in this feeling. Life as we're living it is wrong. America is wrong and broken and in the hands of the rich elite. And the saddest part is it's always been this way. It just wasn't as bad for the majority of people. The only response I can give to end this analysis is commiserate, mourn, but find something to hold on to. Be determined to not fall into the mindset that the rich want, that nothing can be done. On a small scale, live day by day as best as you can. And even if that's not the best, you still lived. In the words of Night in the Woods, at the end of everything, hold on to anything. On a larger scale, help your neighbors. Refuse to stay silent. Make it your moral duty to make sure the rich know they are hated for their crimes. I will be putting in the description ways to help Minneapolis, as well as other resources for people struggling. The world is a scary place, and tomorrow is unknown, but we will brave it together. Thank you for watching the analysis. A longer Night in the Woods video will come at some point, as well as an analysis of Outer Wilds, so please subscribe to see when those release. Stay safe.